How's it going, everybody? Still don't have a real name for this, so again, I'm just gonna keep on going for it. Welcome to Zombies High Night Tonight podcast thing. I still need to think of a name. So, hey. Last episode, I started to give an introduction on some of my stories that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys. I kind of started to talk about, like, certain statistics and some stuff about me, but also about a story that I'm about to share with you guys, which is my experience of a certain amusement park that I went to in my town. Now, if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, go check my last episode out. To really know what it is, just pause this, go check it out, and then come right back to this, and it should be all good. If you don't want to do that, then I'll give you a little summary. Basically, what happened was I moved from a town that I've been in my entire life, all the way up for 10 years of my life. And we moved sporadically, all the way to another town, and it kind of, broke my heart a little bit because I had, very good friends and everything at that one place. But now that I'm older, I kind of realized why we had to move and everything like that. But when we first moved there, I started to hate the place I lived at, and I just really didn't like it at all. Until this certain event happened, and I started to really, truly realize what this place meant, and just how good of a place this place can be for me. And I've already moved away from that place already. I'm in a new place with my stepdad and, with my stepmom and dad. My biological mom is over still in the other place. And if you can't tell, I'm not going to be naming any names or anything like that because secrecy wouldn't be nice. But yeah, so this event that happened was a fair that was going on during the summer. Towards the, the early starts of summer to stop. And this is going to be a truly rolled out experience of me kind of giving you detail. So here we go. Here's my story of this fair. I don't want to name the fair. I don't want to name anything or anybody. I might give fake names, just for the secrecy. I know I'm not really giving much detail, but I'm going to try to give as much detail of the fair itself. So yeah, so let's start. So as I already said last time, I noticed that they were building a kind of fairground over in a place that I used to always walk by. And I was already super, super giddy for it, and I looked it up. It was awesome. I saw some of the events that looked cool, but I didn't really acknowledge it that much until the second to last day. Until the day before it was actually going to start, then I was like, oh my god, this is actually happening. I've saved up money. It was about $20 for an all-day pass, which basically means that you can get a wristband, basically you get a wristband for $20, go on any reg you like, play any games you want, just also with the cost of money as well for the games. Eat what you want, it's also cost of money for eat what you want, it's not. Basically, the free pass was to be there all day. You can go home, within, 3 hours, and then come back, and you should be fine. It was literally an all-day pass. You could go home as many times as you want and come back as many times as you want for that day. It was awesome. So, I fell asleep it was kind of hard to sleep that night because of how much excitement I was going to have the next day. And usually, the days go by fast and everything's oh yeah, oh, this is another day. But when you know something's about to happen, then it's kind of oh, I can't go to sleep because I'm having so much fun, but I need to go to sleep. And it was really that was when I realized that how excited I was for this. Because I just couldn't go to sleep. I was rolling, I was doing everything, I was, literally doing mind exercises to fall asleep. It was super weird, but I eventually went to sleep after a while. Actually, after a long while, probably. And then I woke up the next morning, a couple hours before the thing actually started. Had breakfast, had good breakfast, talked with my mom, and it was about, I would say, an hour after it actually opened. And here comes the first day. Me and my mom decided to walk to the fair. We brought my dog Bailey, and just decided to walk with her. There were a bunch of people going there. Mom then stayed with me for a little while, and I got my wristband. I paid for my wristband, and I marveled at this and everything like that. Mom went home for a while I just toured the place. We met back after about 5 minutes, because it really wasn't that long of a walk from my home to the fair. It was literally all you do was turn on the road and then go down the main drag, and then you would be there. And I was marveling at what this place turned out to be. There were kiddie rides, there was gigantic tents, there was gigantic rides. So from what I saw, there were a bunch of concession stands, kind of like the midway. Basically, you entered through 2 gates, which were just chain link fences, which is what you usually normally went in to go to the field. And then there was a booth there where you buy either your tickets or your wristband, and then you continue walking to those, but there would be some games, like coin dozers and everything like that, shoot the darts and everything like that. And then you continue going down a stretch, kind of like the midway, where there would be concession stands. And then there would be your first ride. After just taking a few steps from the ticket booth, there would be the first ride. Then a ride right next to it. And it was just amazing. So from the rides that I gathered, the ones that I went on, well, I can't remember every single thing that was in there. It was a small fair. It was a small fair. But, I'm gonna try to remember all the rides that were there. Besides the kiddie rides, there was this Indiana Jones kiddie ride that was kind of it wasn't a ride, but it was one of those things where you'd climb, and kind of like a play place at McDonald's, but a themed one, Indiana Jones. Which is weird because it also had Star Wars music to it, which is extremely weird. Me and my friends noticed that after a little while. We were riding the ride right next to it, which I believe was called, not the Starship 2000, but it was the Star Killers, which I know is also a band, but yeah, Star Killer. And we were riding that, and we noticed that it was weird. But there was that, there was the Star Killer. Then right next to that was the Spaceship 2000, which used to be my favorite ride. Basically what it is, if you don't know what Starship 2000 is, it's basically this UFO-looking thing. The door would open as a little platform. You'd walk in, and there would be there wouldn't be seats, but there would be standing seats all around, these little pads where you would put basically you'd lean up against a wall that had these pads that would move up and down. And then once everybody filled in, there would be an operation guy in the middle, and then the door would close, they would start spinning. But what also happened was once it started to really start to go, you would feel the G-forces pressing you back, so you couldn't even lift your fingers. You couldn't lift your entire arm, and it would just slap right back down. But apparently what would also happen was it would tilt, and that's why the pad that you were going on would go up and down. And it was exhilarating at first. And it used to be one of my more favorite rides, but then I kind of started to get a little bit more extreme, especially at this fair. That was one of the first rides that I went to. And it was super fun. So there was that, then there was the 40-foot drop, I think it was called, which is, as it sounds, it goes up 40 feet and then drops down. Cool. I did not go on that one, and for good reason, because I'm terrified of heights. It's not vertigo, it's just in my mindset, which I'm starting to get out of this right now, but as a kid, I always thought that I was going to be that extra weight that would make everything fall. Like, I would be that extra weight where, like, if once we get to a certain point, it would crumple, and I would be that extra weight that would make it fall down, we'd all die. Or I would just think that I would, like, sort of get dizzy and fall off myself, or I would just go through a lot of things that would scare me of being high up. And when it came to roller coasters and everything like that, I was just scared of, like, dropping down and it not really going that well, and all of a sudden careening off course and crashing and dying. I was very, very terrified of heights, but for this one, I'm glad I didn't go on it because one of my friends went on it, and when he said when it went down and it just suddenly stopped, the straps that held you in didn't really work that well, but they were like hard plastic, and so when you went down and stopped, it would like crush some of your like it would like crush your leg and around that area, like your bottom half. It would just feel absolutely horrible. It would just be like way too tight, so it really wasn't that comfortable at all. Then in kind of like towards the middle, in like the middle of it was the tornado, which is also a pretty fun thing. Then towards like the very back, like I would say the back right was the zipper. Now I actually have a fun story about the zipper. Many years before this, when I was with my grandma on my mom's side, we went to the Evergreen State Fair, and I saw this exact same ride. But it was like a smaller version, and to me, I was about like 8 or 10 years old, and to me, that seemed fine. Like, it was miniature, it was like smaller, and I was like, oh, I really want to go on that, but I couldn't at the time. But I always remembered it, and I didn't even know the name of it, but it looked fun. And so when I was seeing it then, I thought, oh my god, that's terrifying. So basically what the zipper is, if you don't know what it is, it has to be a two-person thing. You have to have another person in, which is a terrifying thought, noting that you can't go by yourself, otherwise you may die. And you may die even with two people. Basically, it's a roller cage. You go in to this cage that's kind of like a lightning bolt, but a little more rounded. And you get caged in. Like, they lock the cage to make sure that you hold the handles very tightly. And what it does, it's a belt. Which is why they're starting to discontinue the zipper, is because the belt is way too expensive now that they can't replace it if it breaks, which kind of sucks. Basically what it do is you would go around the belt, but also your cage would flip. But what also would happen is that the ride itself would flip around as well. Is that while the belt was going and you were flipping, the actual machine itself was also flipping, turning around, which would make it terrifying. And I believe also, with some of them, the operator can control how much you flip, and this is where it gets fun and terrifying, is that the more that you scream, the more that you sound terrified, sometimes the operator would get that you're having fun, or like know that you're getting scared, so he would do it to you more and more and more, which I think is kind of awesome, but terrifying for the rider. But yeah, so I'll get into that later. I'm gonna like play this out as if I'm still there. Then in the middle, towards the back, was the Ring of Fire, which I saw before. And then in the other corner was this ride called Vertigo, which is basically a chair ride. Basically, it was a 3-person chair ride. You would clip in, hold the bars, and it would go up and up and up and up and spin around, and you just spin up about 48 feet in the air. It was super fun. It was taller than both the 40-foot drop as well as the Ring of Fire. And I have some pretty fun experiences of that. And then right next to that, towards the left side, going back to the front entrance, was the teacup ride. It was like a strawberry teacup ride where you would like spin it, but it would stay on the ground. It was more of a kiddie ride. But I also have some fun stories of that. Then there were the houses. Basically, it was the masquerade house, and then there was the haunted house, where you just like walk in, and it would be like a walking experience. It was fun. and I believe some more games, and that should be about it. If I remember, yeah, there may have been like a little mini kid coaster, you know, like one of those like dragon kid coasters that would just loop around and around and around and be anything like that. But I can't really quite remember that. So yeah. So going in, it's the very first day. The very first web I ever do is the Starship 2000, which was pretty fun. But it wasn't as good as I remembered it. I remember also having a conversation with the operator, the tickets man, the front gate. While we were waiting, he was like, we were talking, and he was like, oh yeah, you should try out the 40-foot drop with the vertigo. They're only 48 feet and 40 feet. And to me, that's terrifying. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, mate, I'm good. He's like, it's fine. It's really actually not that bad. I was like, yeah, I think I'll just stick to this. And he's like, shoot yourself, mate. And he was a nice guy. What they did was that they switched out the operators a bunch of times. They had like a crew of probably about like 20 operators, and they switched out from every ride. Oh, I also forgot one thing. I forgot one ride as well, and I can't believe I forgot this. Right in between the zipper and the 40-foot drop, in between that was the octopus. Now, if you don't know the octopus, let me explain it to you. Now, I may sound a little bit giddy, and that's because this is now my all-time favorite ride. Basically, what the octopus is it's designed to look like an octopus with like the 8 legs with carts on them for 2 people. Basically, they would strap yourself in. You like sit down with the other person right beside you. A bar would drop down, and they would flip up the thing to get in, and that would be like your kind of like foot holster. But what happened was when the ride started, it would spin, and it would spin kind of like vertically. It was probably at, I would say, like a 45-degree bank. So towards the entrance of the ride, that would be like when it's like down by the ground. But then on the other side, it would be like high up in the air. But here's what would happen. What would also happen is it would start to go faster, but then each individual arm would start curving down to the floor. So it would like wiggle its arms, and it was super fun. It would just like suddenly go down, then right back up, then down, then right back up. But it would do it sporadically. And it was just super fun. And that's why it was absolutely terrifying for me as a kid. Many, many years ago, we also used to go to this fair at like a little field, like a playing field. Not playing field, like a playing field. Like airplane. And it would be like right next to that. And I remember this fair also had the octopus. And it was absolutely terrifying for me as a kid. And I remember I went on it alone, like it was just me, and I was absolutely terrified. But funny thing, before I actually even went to the carnival, this one at the place I was living at, I was really hoping that they had the octopus. Because I remembered that, and I was like, I really hope they have the octopus. Because I wanted to conquer the octopus. I'm not going to be afraid of it anymore. But I was kind of half expecting them to not even have it. Well, when I saw it, my heart sank, and I was like, oh no, I won't be able to do this. But yeah, I did it. Just to say. And it was super fun. So after I did the Starship 2000, and it was kind of exhilarating, but not as much. I was like, oh, that's cool. What else should I do? And so I started to go around, and I decided to try the ride right next to it, which was the Star Killers. Now the Star Killers, that was fun. Basically what it is that there are a bunch of carts. But each cart has one going one way, one going the other way. So it was like mirrored. It was cart A and cart B, and that was one cart. for 2 people each thing. And so either you were facing forward or you were facing backward. And what it would do is card A would go first, and that would be the way that you were going. You would spin around that way. You would spin around the way the card A was facing. Then it would stop and then go the other direction, even faster. But also what would happen was, during all of this, it would tilt. And it would go almost completely vertical. Like, almost completely, like sideways. And it was absolutely awesome to go backwards like that. Oh man, it was fun. At first, and it goes like fast. Like the first time I ever tried it, I heard from the friend that when you go backwards, it pushes down to your legs to where it almost cuts off the circulation. And I was like, grand. And I was like terrified to do that. But for this one, and when I first went on it, that is kind of what happened, but not much, not as bad as it sounded. But then when I went on like a second time, it was completely fine, and I absolutely started to love it. Yeah, it was just extremely fun. The entire park was fun. I had some like really fun times. Wait. Yeah, so before I did that though, so I got off the Special 2000 and I thought it was about time that I try out the octopus. And I met up with this kid. He was like, oh yeah, you want to be friends or anything like that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he wanted to go on the octopus. And I was like, perfect timing, mate. And so we got online, and we were already suited up, we were already ready, we were already, we were at like the highest point. And they were still like putting kids on. They had to like spin it around and everything like that so everybody could get on. But my partner that was right next to me was telling me all the stories of how people have died on this. And it's freaking me the heck out, man. Like, I'm already terrified that I'm on this thing. But knowing that people have died, and I'm like terrified, like, I don't want to do this, man. He's like, yeah, you got this. I'm like, no, I can't. No, I can't. And I got to the point where I actually stopped the ride. Like, just before it went, I stopped the ride and I got off. Which I hate doing. I hate that. Like, afterwards, I hate myself that I did that. It probably wasn't enjoyable for the other people. It probably wasn't enjoyable for him, my partner, who also had to go out. And I just feel bad for that. But hey, afterward, I think it was awesome. So I didn't go on it that entire day after that. I went on the Star Killers one just because I could, and that was extremely fun. And everybody was yelling to go faster and faster. And so I just started to join in, and it was absolutely fun, the Star Killers one. And here's the thing about being an operator of the ride, you get to have fun. Like, you just get to have, like, fun, listen to the music. And that's one other thing that I love about an amusement park, is the music that they play. They play, like, hip, happening music. I know that that's cliche, but yeah, they do. And it's, like, the kind of music that would, like, really get you, like, going, But, like, really, really get you, like, amped up. And that's what I love about certain carnivals. And everything like that. And the Star Killers one, the Star Killers operator definitely did that. So after that, I went on it about, like, 4 more times, and the dude was even like, you can literally just stay on it. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. He's like, yeah, that's no problem. So after that, I literally just stayed on the thing for, like, 4 more times, and I just had, like, a blast. But then, I believe this was my, and my mom's would gone, and then I decided, to go on some other rides and everything like that. And I had, like, some extreme fun. I went on the tornado. My mom came back, and there was, like, this slide in the middle of the entire park that was, like, this gigantic slide where you would, like, get a mat and you would go down it. But I was, like, way too big for it, and it really wasn't that fun. And then I went home to have dinner. Either lunch or dinner. Yeah, dinner. I had lunch at the thing. And I was just telling my mom how much fun I was having, and she's like, we should go back. I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, you can spend the entire day there. And I'm like, oh, thank you, mom. And so like I ate dinner quickly, which was a pork roast, delicious pork roast in the crock pot, absolutely delicious. I love myself a good pork roast. And then I hurried on back, and it was already kind of starting to get a little bit dark, and all the neon lights looked beautiful. And I had like some more fun on some of the rides. One of the Star Killers went on a couple of the rides. But those were like the three main ones that I went on for that day. It was the Tornado, Star Killers, and Spaceship 2000. Those are the only three that I really went on, because the other ones I didn't really want. The gear ones I wasn't going to go on because it wasn't kiddie anymore. The other ones seemed way too threatening for me at the time. But yeah, it was just awesome. But then I met up with some other friends. My friend Jeremiah from school, he showed up with his family, and I met up with them. And that's the thing about Amusement Park, is that you don't even expect any of your friends to be there, but they are, and it's absolutely fun. Well, they had an exchange student, a Japanese exchange student, and he was a nice guy as well. Like, my God, he was fun. But they were all going on Vertigo. And I'm like, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to leave myself out. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And I had on an orange hoodie.